looking at the women who stayed there, the socioeconomic diversity. As I say, we can talk about racial diversity, but certainly that did not happen until the 1950s, I discovered. But the socioeconomic diversity happened very quickly. And that's one of the fascinating things to me, how the women ranged from debutantes to really women who'd run away from home in rural Ohio. And they were living next door to each other now. And that in itself, I think, is very interesting. And then the 1940s, in terms of this new woman, as I say, really, when these guest editors started to come in, it certainly also impacted in terms of sort of its intellectual cachet and its place in New York, in a sort of a New York intellectual society. And then the 1950s, this new woman, particularly fascinating because this is the decade where the Barbizon is nicknamed the doll's house because of all these models. I mean, this is when Grace Kelly is here, Sylvia Plath and so forth. Many actresses in the late 1940s, early 1950s are at the Barbizon. But yes, it's a doll's house. The Barbizon is now a place where it's famous because these beautiful young women that men hang around. Salinger hangs around at the coffee shop trying to pick up women, pretending he's a Canadian hockey player. I mean, there is all of this, absolutely. But it's so interesting when you dig into sort of the young lives of these later famous women, the kind of conflict they feel, the way that sexuality plays into this era. It's fascinating. So the new woman really has many phases throughout the hotel's history.